That must be for you.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talks at GS, and I'm pleased to welcome everyone who's watching on Yahoo Finance, and to introduce our guest today, Paul Tudor Jones. Dare say, a good friend of mine. We've worked together for a number of years on various matters. I'm sure that will come up. Paul was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, so the accent is, which has worked very, very well for him, is not a put-on.
Still here.
Not a put-on. In 1980, 4 years after graduating from the University of Virginia, just 4 years, he went from trading cotton futures to founding his own hedge fund, Tudor Investment Corp. In 1988, he founded the Robin Hood Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to alleviating poverty in New York City. And in 2013, he co-founded Just Capital, a nonprofit dedicated to building a marketplace that better reflects the priorities of the American people. Now, that is some sketchy thing, and there's a lot to fill in between. And so let's start. And I think the first thing I would just want to ask, and just for the benefit of the people here and a lot of young people who are in the early stages of their career, you get out of school, you trade cotton. I think, did you work for a firm at all?
I went to work for E.F. Hutton.
E.F. Hutton, that sounds so conventional. Yes.
No one here gets the joke, right?
Yes, that's right.
There was this great commercial when E.F. Hutton talks, and then it'd be like a flash mob.
Yeah.
Everybody listens.
Yeah, it's like Superman changing in a phone booth. Yeah. What's that?
Yeah.
Phone booth. So you go on the floor, cotton futures, very rough and tumble. You go, you do well, you start. Tell me, how did you become who you are?
Well, it's funny. I got to be a trader, probably because when I was really, really young, I was a game fanatic. I played every single game that there was: Monopoly, Life, Parcheesi, poker. I used to play hours of solitaire. I just loved playing games. And so...
You're very competitive in solitaire?
Everything. Well, oh gosh, there's a lot of things I can say, but I won't. Thank God, I see the head of my investor relations here is going, be calm. Remember, there's a lot. This is a public venue. Don't be yourself.
Yes, whatever you do, don't be. That's what I get. Whenever I walk out, whatever you do, don't be yourself.
So anyway, I played a whole bunch of games. Chess, backgammon when I was older. When I was in college, I was the bookie in our fraternity. So I had, by the time I graduated from college, I already had probably at least a master's in probabilistic theory. And so when I was in college, I had no idea what I wanted to do other than drink beer, and that I was extraordinarily good at. So I think it was February of my senior year, the guy that I inherited the book from said to me, oh man, and his name was Bob Wilson of Wilson, Arkansas. Robert Ely Wilson V of Wilson, Arkansas. He said, you got to try this soybean futures. I'm back and we're hedging up. They had a huge plantation at the time in Arkansas. We're hedging up our soybean crop, and this makes football gambling just pale in comparison. And then literally that weekend, I read a story on a guy named Richard Dennis, who was the biggest local at the Board of Trade, and then he used to say that he did his best trading when he was hungover because there was no emotion. And I thought, this is starting to get close to what I'm culturally pretty good at. It's so funny. What I found in life, I heard, I was home last night with my kids who are 21 and 28, and we listened to the commencement address from Stanford this year, and his first name was Sterling. He's the actor, the black actor on This Is Us. What's his last name? Sterling Brown. Sterling Brown said, the secret to happy life is not to have a career or a profession or to want to go do this, but to have a calling. And so for me, I think in everything that I've done, it has been a calling. It's drawn me, something's drawn me to it, rather than me thinking, gee, I've got to go there. And I think those are it's a really profound concept, that let life pull you in the direction that just comes naturally, and you're going to find that perfect intersection of purpose and happiness.
And so, now just, when you were cotton trading, were you a local?
So I started out
On the floor or above?
I started out as
Not that anybody knows what this means anymore.
right. Well, that's actually a really interesting point. Being a local back then.
These are the people who stood in the pits.
Yeah.
And everybody saw the movie Trading Places, and they waved their arms and they say to.
So that actually, if I think back, that might be the biggest miss that I had in my career was, and we'll get to that in a second, but I started out working as a broker, and back then it was great because 21 years old, to come in, you take the Series 7, it literally took 2 weeks to study and pass it, and then they hand you, back then they handed you, at least in the commodity division, E.F. Hutton, this gave me a book on technical analysis of stock trends by McGee and Edwards. Yep. He told me, read that. I read it. Go home, read it again. I read it. Go home, read it again. I read it. He goes, you're ready to trade. You're ready to open accounts. So I'd say within 4 weeks, I was trying to talk my parents' friends into opening accounts and let me trade. And at 21, it was literally hilarious. But that's how I started. And then ultimately, as I started trading these accounts, the guy that I worked for that originally hired me was the greatest cotton speculator in the world. His name was Eli Tully, so he'd sent me to New York City. I guess I was up here for 6 months working on the floor. Then I went back to New Orleans. That's another long story. Came back to New York. And during that period of time, I enjoyed so much the interaction with all my customers. I've always been, I think, a sociable person, so I enjoyed that so much. That we were making money and talking to them all the time. But then after a while, I realized I could do so much better if I just traded for myself, because the commissions back then were, and this is going to make you really excited, were $90 a contract. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And what is it now?
You could trade $40,000 for $90 today.
Yes, exactly. So it was $90 a contract, and I realized I could go trade for myself and clear. I think even then, clearing was still 30 or 40 cents a contract, and just do. And I started doing that for myself, and I did really.
So you were successful from the start?
Pretty much. I had 2 phenomenal learning periods where I lost everything. Like I had $10,000 and went down to zero. And then I made back like $20,000 and then went down to zero. And I remember...
Are you just using these low numbers so we can understand?
No. This is when you're 22 years of age and it's 1978 or 9. That's just, a gargantuan amount of money. And I remember my father coming to me on the 3rd time and said, "You've got to get in something safe like real estate."
Exactly. Lending.
I said, "No, I'm going to stick with this." And the rest is history. But I guess the point was, it was so funny. I guess by 1980, I was doing pretty well. And in 1980, my father kept going, "You've got to do something respectable." So I applied to Harvard Business School and got in. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go up there, and what is this place going to teach me? I was already doing, I was probably making a couple of $1 million a year trading my own account, which was a fortune back then. And the weekend before I was supposed to go, I was loading up the U-Haul to drive to Boston and just said, this is crazy. They're not going to teach me anything about this, and this may disappear. And so I never went and continued trading. But I started my hedge fund. To get back to the point, the one thing about trading for yourself, I got so lonely. I really did. I was doing real well, but I was so lonely. And back then, the cotton exchange closed at 3. I'd go home I'd do all my charts and stuff, go home at 4:30, watch Star Trek, and that was kind of my life. It was not, it was financially fulfilling, but it was unfulfilling in every other every other way.
What
So,
about the intellectual satisfaction of talking to the other locals?
yeah, right. That was why that ended up being the greatest mass extinction in my lifetime. That would be my one biggest, if I had one regret, it was, there were probably 100,000 people like me, if you think about the 80s, that were floor traders
The ecosystem was big.
It was enormous, and it probably supported, I would say, something in the neighborhood of $5 to $10 billion in profits, even not evenly distributed, certainly not evenly distributed, but distributed over that ecosystem. And then along came electronic trading, and it was really interesting because there literally was a mass extinction of entire profession, and it happened so slowly and incrementally that no one ever saw it. And it was really kind of the precursor of what's happening today, in the sense that we took all those profits, which were being distributed in an egalitarian fashion, or certainly some kind of distributed fashion, and then we compressed them. And I would say there's probably 3 or 4 firms, 2 or 3, Renaissance would have been one of them, and D.E. Shaw. Those companies really took that entire profit structure, or that profit ecosystem, and then...
Or the inefficiency that they were getting paid for, which was just a kind of an inefficiency and a burden on the market, just went into a different place.
It only shifted. I wouldn't call it inefficiency. It's just the transactional nature of being a liquidity provider. It went from being distributed among 100,000 people to being distributed, say, among 1,000 people. And that was the power of the computer, right? And so we're obviously facing that daily today as the economy changes and morphs. And you're seeing that right now with this massive income stratification too, right? As the people who have the quant skills are able to do at scale what it used to took, tens, hundreds, thousands of humans to do.
Well, you could see that, now you have Uber has displaced how many taxi drivers?
Right.
So the valuation of Uber, which, 50, 60, whatever you think it's worth, is valuation that attaches to how many venture capitalists versus how many hundreds of thousands of taxi drivers that don't have an income.
Right.
And so that's another form, that's just an example that repeats over and over. On the other hand, that ecosystem that used to be on Wall Street, and you might as well, put in the specialist system as well, they all found jobs.
Same thing.
But
they
all found jobs. So anyway, just to go, so you start your hedge fund, and let me just take you to 1987. That was a big moment for you, the year of the great crash.
Well, the crash of '87 was really interesting, just because the crash of '87 probably never would have happened except for, again, the market infrastructure at that point in time. I remember, because I started out in '76 trading commodities, and so for 120 years, all commodity futures had limits. And I remember so many times in the late '70s, early '80s, where the cotton market would be limit up, or the soybean market would be limit up, because that was the allowable amount that prices could move. And they would not let them go anymore because they knew the irrationality of human nature and the possibility of what a mob can do to anything. So they had limits. Now, financial futures come along. Here's a funny story. Do you know I tried to work for Goldman in 1984? When y'all were first thinking about futures, and they went, that's not futures. No, we're not.
Listen, I couldn't get a job.
We're not going to do that because we're Goldman. We're not going to be in that business.
I didn't get a job at Goldman. I only got a job at J. Aron.
Okay.
And J. Aron was bought by Goldman.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
What is it with these Goldman guys? Stuck up.
Incredibly inflated themselves. But anyway, so '87, there were no limits. There were no limits on any financial futures. It was just an absolute accident waiting to happen. And then they started portfolio insurance. And in '87, you could just look on any kind of historical metric and see the stock market was stupidly overvalued. 10-year rates were 10.5%. And I think the dividend yield on the stock market was about 4.5 or 5. So just think about that compared to today, right? $500 basis point, would have 10-year rates right now at something like 7.25, 7.5.
The forward prices of stock would have been a hell of a
Yeah,
lot
exactly.
lower than
But they weren't then. And so when the market finally broke, I mean, the one thing that I would say I've learned the past 40 years is these, price patterns and price stories. It's the same old story so often, just with different characters, different times, different plots. And so that looked a lot like 1929 to me. And I knew for a fact that if and when it broke, because of the derivative structure, that the downside was going to be unlimited, literally unlimited, because there were no limits on futures. And I would kind of liken it to this past February's market break. We had that kind of, what was that? Was it a 7 or 8% in 1 week? And you had all the VIX ETNs, you had all the short VIX structures. Those were that was just a bomb ready to explode. That was just a matter of time. And that entire break in the first week of February was all derivative inspired. And if I think of some of the greatest financial crises of the last 30 years, they, generally speaking, are derivative inspired because that's where all the leverage is.
leverage, right?
Yeah.
And so, I can't help but ask. You see, you've made some aspects analogous to the current position. Now, it's obviously not that bad. The interest, the return, the dividend versus interest rate isn't where it was. You see a lot of excesses in the current market.
I would say that we have, I think right now, when you look at kind of any asset price, you have to be thinking that this is a highly dubious, sustainable price. And I say that for a couple of reasons. One, first and foremost, I don't think monetary policy, the way it's currently conducted, is sustainable over time. We have, if you think about just history is the normal real 10-year rate's 200 basis points, and right now we're probably minus 30 or 40. The normal real short-term rate's 100 to 120 basis points, and we're probably negative 40 right now. So clearly, interest rate policy is crazy. Like if you had just parachuted in and said we have a 3.8% unemployment, 2.8% CPI, what are rates? You just 4.5 or 5 or something like that. So rates ultimately are not sustainable because ultimately, much like the late 60s, we had Operation Twist in the 50s and 60s where we manipulated interest rates and had low real rates. And then everyone kind of the 60s got used to zero rates, zero real rates, and that set us up for the 70s. And so I think we're doing the same thing again. So I don't think monetary policy is sustainable, and clearly fiscal policy. Are you kidding me? We're going to be 4 this year. Add 0.5% every year for the next 5 or 6 years. We'll be at 7 in 3 years. That's not sustainable. So you look at prices of stocks, real estate, anything. In the long run that we have to get back to we're going to have to mean revert back to a normal real rate of interest with a normal term premium that's existed for 250 years. We're going to have to get back to that. We're going to have to get back to a sustainable fiscal policy. And that probably means price of assets go down in the very long run. Now, the short run, it's just
Lighter fluid on a fire.
I was going to say jacked up, ready
Yes.
to go.
Flare.
That's right.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing, but it's pouring lighter fluid on an already lit fire. Two problems with that. One is it flares, and the other problem is you don't have the lighter fluid left for when you need it. So it'll be.
So if just imagine the next recession comes.
What do you do?
Oh my God, it's going to be interesting. This will be.
Where are you going to be when that happens?
Well, hopefully I'll have been really short.
Oh yeah.
So that's a very good question. The next recession's really frightening because we don't have any stabilizers. We'll have monetary policy, which will exhaust very quickly, but we don't have any fiscal stabilizers. In 2000, the last time we were at 3.8% unemployment, we had a 2.5% budget surplus.
Yeah. I guess the hope is from the guys who are putting out the policy is that that the rate of growth grows to a point where it just solves the problem. It seems like a stretch, but that's the claim.
You're laughing.
I have to
You're
say,
laughing.
I have to say it for equal.
You could have said that to me when Reagan was president.
Yeah. But okay, so listen, so we go your career as a trader, but you have another career simultaneous for which I'd have to say you are very, very famous in a narrow place, but you've had a much bigger effect on people, I would say, in your other career, which is that of a philanthropist. And I'd say that that's a highfalutin expression, except you started being a philanthropist probably around the same time you started your firm, maybe even earlier. Could you take us through that stage? And I brought up to you that I remember at the time there was this novel idea that, who's the person who originated the I Have a Dream?
Gene Lang.
Gene Lang came up where he adopted a kindergarten class and he pledged to support those kids through college if they stuck to it. And then right after it, I heard about it. There's this young guy my age, where the heck was I, who also did it, and that was Paul Jones.
So I remember I was at home on my apartment in my couch, and I think I was 32 or 33, and I saw the 60 Minutes piece on I Have a Dream. And again, that was a calling. I saw that and I went, I can do that. I can do that and I called Gene Lang the next day because I felt at that point in time that there was something really missing in my life. I grew up probably like your family. I think acts of kindness were it's like brushing your teeth with my mother and father. So they were always that way. When I saw that 60 Minutes piece, it was very resonant with me. I called Gene Lang. I adopted this class, and I remember they had this meeting where everyone was going to get a borough. I think there were 5 of us, and I got late, and so they gave me Bed-Stuy, do or die.
I'm from East New York, so I grew up there.
It was all anyway. So that became a long-term love affair between me and Bed-Stuy, and I adopted this class, and wow, that was such an eye-opening experience because I had no skill, no sociological skills, no insights, no idea, no anything. All I had was
You're from Memphis, so crying out loud.
Okay, so I'm gonna let
What do
that
you know
go.
about Bedford-Stuyvesant?
It's true, actually, particularly in Bed-Stuy. So anyway, I went there, and boy, 3 years in, it was wild because all of a sudden we lost some kids to violence. We had a significant proportion of our.
How many kids you start with?
We had 86, and so I had no idea what I was doing. I'd say 3 years in, it was really evident that I was way over my head, and our scores were not improving at school. We'd have report card night every quarter, and our scores never got any better. And one of the reasons we had an after-school program, but our after-school program was more around kind of touchy-feely. We'd play sports and stuff like that. I mean, literally had no idea whatsoever. And then we started having, I would say about 4 years in, we started having some young mothers in the program, and it was just really overwhelming.
How many kids made it to college?
I think we ended up getting 31 into college, and I think we ended up, which would be about 4 times the neighborhood rate. And then I think we ended up graduating about half of that class. And that was actually the crucible that was so important for me on my journey, because I learned there was a huge difference between effort and outcome. Because I'd put so much, gosh, I think we were probably spending $4,000 or $5,000 per kid per year with nothing. When I say nothing to show for it, the metrics that you'd look for, right? The academic scores, grade matriculation, attendance, dropouts. We weren't improving on any of that because there was no focus and there was no delineation of what the mission was, and there was no understanding between us and the kids. We weren't providing them the support that they needed, and their environment, the background noise was so great that just being their friend and just giving them promises wasn't enough to overcome a really challenging environment they grew up in. So that was, I think the I Have a Dream experience was really informative for what we ended up doing in Robin Hood.
Because it taught you to focus on outcomes and not just to appreciate the effort, but not to reward, reward the outcomes.
It's not that it's irrelevant, but you really have to be so goal-oriented, and you have to have milestones along the way, and you have to hold yourself accountable. And all those things I learned really early on. But I loved the idea, and I loved the class, and I kept adopting classes all the way through until I'd say the mid-'90s. And then the mid-'90s were disappointing because all the classes in the after-school program that stayed with us were literally 90% girls. And so it was disappointing that the young boys could not keep up with the girls. Now, I've got a boy and 3 girls, and we all know that girls are...
You're just finding out the eternal truth.
That boys may be a little developmentally challenged, but it was still eye-opening, and that was when I actually shifted focus and said, okay, I'm spending all this money. Forget trying to be an after-school program and putting a Band-Aid on the problem. Why not instead attack it from the beginning? And that's when I started a charter school, which was Bed-Stuy Excellence for Boys. We started one. I wanted to start one specifically for boys because they were so developmentally challenged, and we ended up starting one for girls also, but we started with boys. And that actually ended up being one of the happiest endeavors of my life because really early on, I'd say, and I was working with Norman Atkins, who you remember was...
I think my wife is on the board.
Yes.
Yes, it actually works very
phenomenal.
hard. Well, you're nice to say that.
No, she is phenomenal. She's incredible. And it was just wonderful because it was really evident from the very beginning that with the right inspiration, direction, focus, educational infrastructure, that you could just blow the whole myth of the achievement gap away. And I would say within 5 years, I think we were, or maybe it was 4 years, we were #1 out of 543 elementary schools in Manhattan with 98% African-American inner-city kids.
You know, I could talk for too long just about what I know you've done, and every time I talk to you, I just discover something else. But in the interest of time, take us through Robin Hood and what you tried to accomplish, in fact, pretty lavishly have accomplished in Robin Hood.
Well, I'd say Robin Hood in the early years was like Three Stooges without the pie fight.
So it's a little over 30 years ago.
I would say in the beginning, it was just a couple of us making it up as we went. But again, the good thing is we were being informed by our failings along the way. And very quickly, we realized we're going to become outcome focused. And you know, the best part of Robin Hood is, I think, in fact, the best part of, and I hate the word philanthropy for whatever reason.
I know, it sounds a little, you know.
The best part of my professional career,
investing really,
has been being involved on the charitable side. If I think of all my best friends, of all the people who I hang around with, enjoy the most, spend the most time with, it's generally been people that I've met through some of those endeavors. You find the greatest people, and you find this communal bond, and there's so much joy that comes from that, and so much happiness. So I'd say that's, on a selfish basis, has been the best part of it. And Robin Hood really, if I think about a collection of thousands, if not tens of thousands, of noble hearts' minds, that is what that has been. It's been, we call it Robin Hood Nation. It truly is. You know, you were on the board. And it's funny because I've seen so many people come in, they stay with us forever, they come in for a period of time, they leave us, but I think they always leave, no matter what level of engagement, they leave larger and bigger and happier and more purpose.
I just remember, I just have to say this because you won't say it about yourself. It's not just what you give or the effectiveness, but I tell you, I learned a lot. I learned a lot that I've applied. Something came up the other day. I remembered right after 9/11, when this whole community downtown was running around the small business and couldn't get anything, and everybody's looking, how do you get them money? And everybody had to apply, into the government forms, who needs the money and verification. You and Robinhood just went out and made the statement. I wasn't at that meeting. I heard it. I came to Robinhood after that, but made the declaration, why don't we just give $5,000 to everybody who says he or she needs it? No questions asked. How many people who don't deserve it will ask relative to how many people won't get it if we require some kind of bureaucracy or verification? Where do we want to be on this? To accidentally give it to a few too many people, or to give it to no one at a timely time in their need? That was an unbelievable concept at that time.
Yeah. So we had the concert for 9/11, and we raised about $60 million. And the question is, how do we help out on behalf of the victims of the towers and the firefighters and the policemen? And what was so interesting is there was so much bureaucracy and red tape that those families were receiving nothing. And so here all of a sudden it comes the holidays, comes the end of the year, they're getting nothing. We said, look, let's just go and give $5,000 to every family. And we couldn't even find the list of people that had passed away. So Robinhood literally ended up getting the list that became the list. And then we just sent everybody a FedEx check for $5,000. Amazing the impact that had, because there's all this talk about all this help, and yet none of it was hitting the ground. So that was one of our better moments. The other thing is, it's so funny, going back to the calling, so many of the initiatives that we've had at Robinhood have been in response. It's almost like we were called to it. Back in the early 90s, when AIDS was such a huge problem, and the real problem with AIDS was that it was being spread by needles. And so I remember we had on our board, we had John F. Kennedy Jr. and Jan Winter, who was the editor of Rolling Stone. Then we had Ken Langone, and Druckenmiller, and we had this big argument over whether we should be funding the needle exchange in, I guess it was Williamsburg Park, because that's where all the addicts were. And so the left was going, we can't do this, we'll be attacked. And then Langone and Druckenmiller are going, it works. This is how we're going to stop.
Right. So the right wingers wanted to support the drug, the instruments,
it was hilarious.
The enablers, right?
But we've been involved in a bunch of those: teenage pregnancy, 9/11, Sandy relief.
But that's the point. It wasn't just conventional. It wasn't just. I always thought it was like really. People use the term venture philanthropy or social investing, but you really brought a lot of novelty and insight that in the first instance I found jarring, and afterwards I thought this is the most sensible way to spend philanthropic dollars.
Yeah, and I would say we're still doing that. In fact, I'd say that's the most important focus. We have a new executive director, Wes Moore. He's phenomenal. His that he's bringing all of us on board to is we've got to focus on social mobility, because right now your future level of income is pretty much determined, more so than it's ever been in the history of this country, by your parents' income. So social mobility probably is going to be our number one focus going forward. How do you break how do you break those chains that hold you back? It's amazing. Here we are, the land of the free, of equal opportunity, and yet we right now have literally the most rigid social constrictions and restrictions on our young people than they've ever faced in the history of this country. And it's embarrassing, frankly.
Well, I could keep, by the way, just as a number, how much money has Robinhood distributed for the...
We're right at $3 billion.
Nice round number.
It's a good start.
Yeah, see, we started out with $10,000 trading, and now we're up to $3 billion of philanthropic giving. I love this topic, but I want to talk about just capital, which is what I refer to as your wholesale kind of institutional approach to this, which I think is very important. Give you a chance before we lose our Yahoo audience.
Okay, so just that was another calling. The last thing I wanted to do was get involved in another not-for-profit. Deepak Chopra calls me up and said, Paul, I have this student and he has this idea, and the idea is, why can't corporations be a force for goodness? Why can't they use their capital, human and financial, for just causes, just capital, if you will? And I thought, oh God, Deepak, please. And I thought, all right, well, let me think about it, I'll call you back. And then I went home, and I remember at Robinhood we were trying so desperately to get a matching grant from New York City. Because that was always in philanthropy, where you're fighting neighborhood by neighborhood. If you can get the government to come in and match the private
My
funding.
stuff works. Why don't they fund it?
Yes, yes. And then I started thinking, okay, so private philanthropy in the U.S. is $360 billion, and the federal government's $4 trillion, so that's 10 times the size. And then the private sector is $15 trillion, so that's 4 times the size of the government sector. Really, if we're going to have societal change, it's going to happen. It has to happen through the way we do business. And then I called him back, and I said, you know what? Let me call my good friends at Goldman.
Well, no, let's talk about the index, though, how it's organized, because I don't think they appreciate what it is.
Okay, so anyway, basically we ended up...
We'll get back to your good friends at Goldman.
Yeah. So long story short, we came to the idea where we would create an index of... we'd take the Russell 1000, which is the 1,000 largest U.S. companies, and we would create an index with a whole variety of metrics on it. And the index, we kept thinking, oh, Lord, if we create it, we're going to be accused of some type of bias. And so the secret sauce of JUST is that we go to the American people, and we poll them every year.
What's important to you?
And we ask them, blank sheet of paper, tell us what you think is important for corporate justness. And the amazing thing is the American people have an incredible story to tell, and it's totally different than the way Wall Street operates. And no better example of that was that when I talked to you last week, I said, how you doing? And going, well, I said, when are you going to retire? And you said, oh God, 43 quarters of earnings reports. I just don't know. I love it so
48.
much.
I know.
43 quarters, and that's exactly what JUST gets to, which is what this does is it goes through and asks the American public what's important. You're thinking about, how am I going to get my ass kicked because I might miss this quarter's...
Yeah, in which way this quarter?
Yeah, how am I going to go taken to the shed? And the American public says, no. Most important thing that determines justness is, how do you pay and treat your people? That's 23%. And the second thing they say is, how do you treat your customers? The third thing is, are your products, do you make quality products at a good cost and are they socially beneficial? Fourth is, are your operations environmentally sustainable? Fifth is, are you helping out with local communities? Sixth is domestic job creation. Are you creating jobs that give people a financial sense of well-being? And finally, seventh, and it's in single digits, is how are you serving the interest of your shareholders and management? And that's wild when you think about it, because here's the American public that thinks shareholders getting profits clocks in at 7%, when we know the way Wall Street's managed is 85% of what we do.
And you found a correlation between the best ranked companies and financial success.
And
which is
the amazing thing
kind
is,
of convenient.
So there's actually a fantastic story here, in that the top 50% of that Russell 1000 that is in this new ETF that we've created called the JUST 500, and the symbol's JUST. They, on average, they pay better than the bottom 50%. They create 20% more jobs on average. They get fined anywhere from 70 to 90% less. They give 2.3 times more to charity. And the real kicker is they earn 7% more ROE on average. So if you follow what the American public says are the most important things, then you end up not only being just, but you also end up being more profitable. Now, we can discuss why that is, and of course, one of the reasons why that is because if the biggest metric is employee pay and treatment, obviously those companies that are at the forefront of whatever the evolving economy are probably have the highest skilled, most motivated workforce that's making great products and treating customers well. So it's a really simple business model that actually has a ton of alpha in it. So I do think it's important that we, as a society, rethink the old definition of capitalism, which Milton Friedman famously espoused, and he said, the social responsibility of a company is to improve its profits. Now, he said that in 1970, when tax rates were 91%, had just come to 70, and wealth inequality was 1/5 of what it is today. But actually, what he said, and it's so funny, the last movie I saw was, I went back and watched Wall Street, where Gordon Gekko famously said, greed is good, greed is what makes the country great, blah, blah, blah. And I think that was the rallying cry for years of my generation, right?
That was probably the high watermark of greed when that movie came out.
Well, you know,
or the success of greed.
So the interesting thing about 1985 is that since then, since that time, the bottom 90% of Americans owned 35% of the wealth then. Today, that bottom 90% owns 23% of the wealth, and that 12 has gone to the top 1/10 of 1%.
Sure.
So something.
Who might that be?
But I'm just saying, do we think this is a sustainable?
No.
Is this definition of capitalism sustainable? And
it will be reversed by hook or by crook.
yeah, one way or the other. I think Marie Antoinette would
Yes,
be a great
exactly,
example of no, it's probably not. And so, and it's funny because the father of capitalism was Adam Smith, and Adam Smith said, if justice is removed, the great immense fabric of society will in a moment dissipate into atoms. And I think if we just think about what's happened over the past 30 years, that's not just. And hopefully what this little idea here is, through social norming, through changing people's perceptions, every culture is based on what our peers think is right.
So there's more than just an end. You can get back to your good friends at Goldman now if you like.
So anyway, so it was with Goldman's help that we started doing a lot of this research. And along the way, we realized this index, not only will we drive investor behavior, but we'll also drive consumer behavior, because we're going to have the Just 100, the top 100 companies, and they have a seal which they can affix to their products for the year that they're in the top 10%. And so hopefully 5 years from now, Just will be ubiquitous. And when you go to buy a box of Corn Flakes, maybe there'll be one with the Just seal, and maybe there'll be one that won't, and hopefully you'll
Sure.
pick up this one. And it'll make management think about what is the sharing arrangement.
And the point is, it can also be investable, so the people can also reward the company by giving them more capital.
More capital. And employees, I've got 4 kids in my 20s. Anybody can go to our website right now and look at the top 1,000 companies in America and see how they rank on metrics. Goldman, you'll be happy to know, is I think 65 out of 1,000.
Oh my God, we're such strivers. That's terrible.
So you'll be able to look and you'll be able to see how that company scores on a variety of metrics, and you can vote with your feet where you want to work. I want to work at a good place.
Not only that, it's a reward because, again, it becomes easier for companies to raise capital, and people aren't. It's not an act of charity. These are actually better companies. In your
Correct.
View. That's terrific. I think we're going to turn it over. Let me ask you. It's at 3:45. Do we lose our audience, for our streaming audience? What does that mean? Yes. Okay. I want to thank the people at Yahoo for streaming the conversation so far. So thank you very much, and thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, Lloyd.